to the action, there's a lot going on. Try to lock these predictions down, right? Call me John. I'ma talk to Jared, cause he might keep me calm. Had my top pick for this week, but he bombed. Caleb said he had a weak week, but he's strong. Jonathan said he repeat, now it's on. In love with the game, who you got, can I wait? Drop by the dorm, come and watch, it's the babe.
What is up, everybody? Welcome back to the Dorm Debate Podcast. If you're listening, I may sound a little different. If you're watching, you definitely noticed something. We're all together again. We are here in New Orleans for our Dorm Debate trip.
Yes, let's go.
It's go time. It's go time.
Literally, let's go.
Didn't know we spelt it like that, but
I like it.
That's the French spelling. Now, down in New Orleans, there's a lot of French influence. You know, the Cajun Creole cuisine. We've been getting to try that stuff.
Yeah.
So we're excited. We're going to the LSU Alabama game Saturday, and then the Saints Falcons on Sunday.
Yeah, getting a little college football into this NFL podcast.
we weaved it in here.
Oh yeah, we figured out a way.
Prime
Jonathan,
time.
who's going to be there? Noon?
Libby Dunn.
That's not what I meant.
So
Libby, I meant college game day.
college game day is going to be there 9 a.m. to 12 p.m. But yes, Paul Skeens and Livy Dunn are guest pickers on college game day. We could all tell who's Jonathan is looking forward to seeing. It's not really the game. It's college game day.
It's jokes. It's jokes.
It's college game day for sure.
No, it's going to be a really fun time, college game day. So Alabama's ranked 11, and LSU is ranked 15. Now, they both have 2 losses. Everybody knows college football that if you have 2 losses, typically you're out of the playoff run. Exactly. But we have the expanded playoffs this season, so 12 teams get in, right?
Okay, see, this is news to me because you guys know, and the podcast listeners know, I'm the least informed.
We can
for
explain
college,
to you.
so
and
I'm like the
everybody
little
else.
voice. If you're only NFL like me, that's interesting. So this is a big game. Neither team can afford to lose.
So what I will say is that based on the playoff predictions, whichever team loses this game basically is out of the playoff run.
Wow.
Most likely. Now, it's worse for LSU because of the losses that they had and stuff like that. And they're already ranked 15. So if they were to lose this game, it puts them below 15% chance to make the playoff. So if you're talking about LSU, must win.
Yeah.
Alabama, they could still get in, but their chances would be less than just under 30% if they lose. So it's honestly 1 in 3 chances.
When's the last time they lost 3 games in a season? I can't remember.
I can't even remember either.
Wow.
Yeah, it's been a while. And their only 2 losses are to Tennessee teams, Vanderbilt and Tennessee. And Vanderbilt, even though they're a really good team, it was like a really bad loss for Alabama.
That's embarrassing.
So they have a really bad loss on their hand. LSU lost their opener, I believe to Texas A&M or somebody, but they lost their opener, and they've actually been kind of on a hot streak. Then they lost again to somebody else. But overall, I think LSU just has a scary team. And there were 2 stats that Brian Kelly, the LSU coach, is undefeated in primetime games in LSU.
Okay.
And Alabama has won, I think, 6 of the last 8 games against LSU. But it's a big deal to have a primetime game at LSU. It is a huge deal to be in Death Valley and have that game at night.
Loud.
Unreal. It's going to be unreal. Like,
It's going to be crazy.
the SEC home crowds are ruthless, vulgar.
Bring earplugs.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
No,
it's-
experience it for the full. So
You want me to suffer the whole
shout
time?
out to my buddy Trey, who joined our Patreon, and I've been messaging him, answering his questions. He messaged me, and I told him that we were going to the game because he's an LSU grad, and he said, you guys have no idea what you're getting yourself into and what is about to happen. So it is going to be insane. We're hoping that we get there for college game day, but then there's still like about 6 hours because the game's 6:30 Central Time before the game starts. So we're going to have time to kind of maybe see LSU, the campus, and maybe tailgate and maybe see what the vibes are.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think I was telling you, John, but like, I feel like we always look for, like, when we go to trips for NFL games, we're looking, what's a great tailgate environment, experience, great fans. I think college is unmatched as far as tailgating and as far as hardcore fans.
Very
so, like,
passionate.
this tailgate might be one of the best ever in college, but then let alone when we go to NFL games, this might be uncomparable to maybe you could compare it to the Bills, because the Bills are pretty crazy and it's a pretty crazy tailgate.
It's like Eagles too.
Yeah, but
Passionate.
this sheer
It's different,
size of
It's different, yes.
Baton Rouge, just all going to be purple and gold, and just streets and streets filled with parties, darties, and every frat you could think of.
Darty?
Parties, grilling burgers and hot dogs. I mean,
we
what's a
might get
darty?
into some stuff.
oh
What's
yeah,
It's going to be fun.
I'm under.
we're still in college.
yeah. I mean, dorm.
I mean,
yeah.
Caleb's still in college.
Yeah, we do have a member still in college.
I still have
when
my
you say it like
college
that.
ID.
When you say it like that, it's like I've been like a super senior for many years. You know?
Yeah, you're like the player that's like got the red shirt. Got,
Oh,
like,
yeah.
my COVID year.
You've got your COVID year,
My red shirt.
and then they actually granted you an extra year because nobody knows why, but you just got it. So like, this is your 8th year in college football.
I can, I wouldn't be lying. Like I am, yeah. No. It's also interesting. I think we mentioned this on the podcast, and we can say this. Cut it if we can't. But our college didn't have a dedicated football team, so we've never really gotten to experience that part. We had some great sports and great
Hockey-
regions.
hockey team was insanely good, so.
It was a blast. Those environments too.
Right.
But like
Yeah.
the scale of a football arena is just different. You know,
It is.
And for me, I haven't told you guys this. Moving from East Coast to now I'm living in the South. Keep it broad like that. But I see firsthand how much passion there is specifically for college football over NFL. Like in many cases, like
especially in the South. I feel
yeah,
like.
and it's like interesting. It's a cool part of the culture that I didn't appreciate. And obviously, knowing you guys talking about college, I like to inquire and stuff. But yeah, I'm excited because I believe you when you say the tailgate's a different environment when it's college kids, and just an environment and culture in the South that just loves college football, sometimes more than NFL. It makes for some. I'm probably going to be some exciting and different style of game. The tailgate.
Yeah, it's gonna be insane, and I think the phrase of the SEC, like the slogan of the SEC that they say in the commercials, is "It just means more."
It does.
It just means more.
And I think in college they do more storming of the fields. So the question is, if LSU beats Alabama, are we going to join them on the field?
Heck yeah.
Oh, I'm going on. If
Heck
everybody
yeah.
runs out there, I'm jumping over.
Oh, it's going to be fun.
Dude, are you
So,
kidding?
Jonathan, I
we're
wanna-
taking the field goal post and we're going down the street.
Down Bourbon Street.
Oh my God.
So-
Caleb doesn't approve. Are we
It'll be
committing?
okay.
We're committing crimes already.
You guys don't have anything to lose if you're being in college. Like you're not.
You'll get expelled.
We saw you on the field.
Is that you in that shirt over there? Jonathan, I do want to ask you, because you're from Texas, you know how big football is there.
Huge deal, yeah.
Now, in terms of the environment, what are your expectations of what this could be? LSU, Alabama.
Yeah.
It is in the South. It's in Baton Rouge. It's
Yeah.
not in Texas.
Yeah.
But are your expectations that this is going to be like a Texas game,
Oh.
insane?
It's going to be more insane than a Texas game. I've
Really?
seen these LSU versus Alabama games since Odell Beckham was there. I remember watching it. Tyrann Mathieu was there. The crowd gets into it. LSU, I think, is more exciting to play at than Alabama. Alabama fans expect to win. They expect to be
Right.
every year. LSU fans go crazy. It's going to be a loud environment, and I'm excited to be part of it.
Yeah, what's interesting about these two games that we're going to is that we're going to two teams that are both playing at home and they're both underdogs, which is typically not the case because typically home field advantage, maybe they're a little bit more favored. But the situation that LSU is in and the situation that the Saints are in with everything going on with the Saints is that both these teams are underdogs. Now, Alabama's 3-point favorites, and surprisingly, the Falcons are only 3.5-point favorites. So somehow, odds makers are thinking that the Saints are going to be able to keep it close. One good thing, though, is that the over/under for the LSU-Alabama game, 58.5.
Whoa.
So we should see at least 30 points by one of the two teams.
Oh, yeah.
Interesting.
We're going to see a lot of points.
Are their defenses not up to par?
So yeah, I
know college football is
you've
different.
followed their defenses probably more than I have, but I know that they haven't. Alabama's defense hasn't been as good. I mean, Vanderbilt was able to score a lot on them.
Yeah. I think the same for LSU. Their defense isn't that stellar, but they do have some good offensive talent. Brian Kelly likes to score a lot of points.
That's more fun.
I'm excited to see
Yeah.
Tracy. I think he's a good receiver.
Kyron Tracy, Ryan Williams, receiver
Ryan Williams.
for the
He's-
Alabama.
he's a true freshman, right?
He's 17 years old.
crazy.
And he
Yeah.
catches
Oh,
like
he's the guy who went
75.
viral the other,
Yeah.
right? Yes. See,
So we're gonna.
That's the
his
level. That's my
speed,
level. Is like, oh, that guy though.
Like in literally like 3 or 4 years, we could see him like being like a top receiver in the NFL.
Yeah.
Well, that's what's fun about college is you get to see these players that you're kind of like you get to be a fan early on, and then you see them go onto the big stage at the NFL,
I mean,
right?
and both these quarterbacks are going to be drafted. I mean, who knows if they're going to
What were
start?
you?
Eh.
What were you gonna
That was
say?
That's smart, really?
Yeah, he's supposed to go in the first 2 rounds.
Wow.
Really?
Oh
This-
yeah, I did see
This
it.
draft?
In this draft.
Okay, interesting. Well,
Yeah.
I will say Milrow, I guarantee you, I've seen him play. In big games like this, he's going to throw at least one interception.
Yeah.
They're saying he's not a big time.
He's not bad, but he succumbs to the pressure a little bit sometimes.
He's
Okay.
going to
We've
run
seen
a
it
lot.
already. He's going to run a lot, but they're going to force him to throw eventually. He's going to throw at least one interception, at least
Yeah.
one.
That-
In big
Yeah.
games like this in a lot
We
of
got a
environment,
prediction
expect
for the
one.
college. Yeah, I like it. We got
Let's
a
go to
prediction.
predictions. What do you think? Score or
Yeah.
not maybe not a score, but who's going to win?
In this loud environment, I think these teams are basically the same at this point. I think LSU is going to have the advantage because of the home field advantage. Okay, like I said, Milrow's going to make mistakes. I think it's going to be a high scoring game. I'm going to say 30-27. LSU.
Oh, okay. I'm gonna stick with the LSU pick. I know it's crazy to think like Alabama having 3 losses in a season. Like you said, when's the last time we saw that? But this is not the best Alabama team. It's probably one of the worst that I've seen. And so I think this is LSU's best chance. And they don't have one of their better teams, but I still think that LSU will be able to come on top. I'm gonna say 38-35.
Okay,
LSU.
I like that. I like that.
3-point game.
I like that.
That'd be the highest game we've ever witnessed.
Yeah.
For us.
I mean, that's not saying much. 'cause
college-
what is the highest? Like,
College
Wait,
football goes
LSU
pretty high
it
though,
does.
kind of regularly.
But 1 year was it LSU Texas A&M that went like
72 to 75
Yeah.
or
Some
something.
say-
Yeah, that was like quadruple
dude,
overtime.
That's my impression of college football.
that'd
That
be
the
fun.
numbers go
Oh,
pretty
yeah.
high.
Yeah, we're in a good spot. Yeah, I to be completely honest, I am not a big fan of Brian Kelly. He used to coach Notre Dame, and Michigan Notre Dame was a big rivalry.
So it's still with you.
Yeah, and me and my dad call him Father O'Kelly. And
Okay.
I really think
Oh, he left Notre Dame, right? In weird circumstances. Am I thinking of the right coach?
kind of. I don't really remember the specifics, but it was a weird way that he left.
okay.
He didn't get fired.
Yes.
But
Keep going,
As
sorry.
much as I don't like him,
Okay.
this is not your grandpa's Alabama. This is not your grandpa's Alabama. What I mean by that is Nick Saban's gone.
He's gone.
This team is undisciplined.
Undisciplined.
The players were crying when they lost to Vanderbilt. They're throwing fits. They're kicking the ball and doing.
Yeah.
That would never happen under Nick Saban.
Never.
So DeBoer, the head coach for Alabama,
He's on the hot seat.
he's on the no. Hang on.
It's not even been a
Don't
season
put
yet.
words in my mouth.
No. South coaches in the South, they earn a lot of heat all the time.
I'll give
These
you-
boosters. I mean,
dude,
are you
he
kidding me?
loses 2 games.
I'll
and
give
you're
you
saying,
this.
Like, get him
Alabama
out.
doesn't accept baloney.
From what
I'll
I've
give you
heard,
this.
I feel
I-
like Jonathan has a strong case.
Yes,
to make.
because
From
I
what-
have
as an
friends.
outsider.
I have friends in Alabama. They're Alabama fans. They are not happy with how this team is playing, and they are not used to losing. Not back-to-back games. It's not. It just doesn't happen. So they are very upset with DeBoer. I wouldn't say he's on the hot seat, but I'm just saying that these players are undisciplined, and when that happens, these players make mistakes.
It's on the coach.
They're going to make mistakes. LSU's going to come out on top for sure. I don't know the score, but they're going to come out on top. In that environment, they're going to collapse.
When I say hot seat, I mean 2 years. Give him 2 years.
Oh,
He's
so
out.
warm.
He's still
lukewarm.
Hot. That's still
It's-
hot. That's 2 years.
What,
is
like
pretty early.
you're boiling a
Yeah.
pot of water and it's just starting to.
I would say if they
medium.
don't make the playoffs this year, yeah, I think it even could happen in the offseason, right?
I wouldn't be surprised with Alabama. These
With
people are
12
crazy.
teams making it and you're not one of them.
Alabama
unacceptable.
legend not making it.
Right.
Well, plus I don't see this part of the game of college. I'm not a college athlete, but I'm like in that environment and I read the news about it. But is it possible that with a poor coach like that, coaches go quicker with the way players can move more freely? You know what I'm saying? Like it's almost like players will.
So you're
talent
saying
will be
they need to
attracted.
get rid of the coach before some of the players.
If in 2 years your head coach is going to be gone, you're in your sophomore, junior year, would you rather spend the 4 years, if you can think of, with an institution that has a coach has a proven it's like on the up right now?
Longhorns.
You know, like do you think the way NIL has changed the game,
Yeah, they are on the
players will like it's in the interest of organizations to, and it kind of sucks because you can't let coaches need to sometimes mature. But do you guys think that's a thing where maybe the game has changed in that way?
I think a little bit, but it's also a balance of, like Jonathan just said, Texas Longhorns, and yeah, they are on the up. They have Ewers and they have Arch Manning.
Yeah.
Now the thing is, if you're a quarterback, you're not going to want to go to Texas probably.
Yeah.
Like, even though they are on the up, you'd rather be a starter at Alabama because it's still highly touted. And you would be able to start. I mean, at the end of the day, these college players, they want to be able to start.
Yes, yeah. But I'm thinking more if organizations for all the, it's 55 players on a team. Like the big stars will always, There's
also recruiting. So usually in college, like the coaches will get like 4 years. So you get your own players in.
Yeah.
But with the transfer portal now,
right, it's
like there's such a big turnaround that maybe they're a little bit more. But it's Alabama. Like they're going to give them time. Like they're not going to get it. If DeBoer's not right, it's not right. It's the first coach without Nick Saban or after Nick Saban, so
it's like an impossible.
I think it'll be fine.
Okay, I was just curious.
The problem is if you pick LSU, that's a full sweep of LSU, and that's not good. So pick wisely.
You know what? I think we are a little biased. I think did we do this? Where did we do this before? What was our picks for Chargers for the Chiefs Bills game? Like, are we biased because we're in the environment living it?
Yes, 100%.
Yeah, for sure. I mean,
100%.
Because I don't really have I'm excited for a good game. LSU Tigers, we went to, I can say RIT, right? Mm-hmm. It doesn't matter anymore. And they're Tigers too. So it's like, that's my level of like allegiance.
Oh, okay. You like the mascot.
Yeah. Okay. So and we're in that environment, so I'm not going to pick a fight and just, it's different when I wear an Eagles jersey to Cowboys Giants game, but different energy. So I'm going to be rooting for LSU. Score wise, it's just going to guess. I'm just going to throw out 45-44.
Oh, I love that. I love that.
I don't even know if that's like scoregami, but I don't know how the math works for that. But
it's even possible.
But the way we all pick it does make me think Alabama might just show like what football's also about is crowds of everyone cheering against you and comes out in disciplined play. And if you just show up on that day, you can beat that team and that whole environment. So it's it's the game of football too.
Yeah.
Definitely, it gives a certain perspective to coaching too. I know not to bring it to the Saints like a transition, but like it is different when you're watching a game on screen and like call timeout. You can see all the information really easily, and you're out of that emotional environment. Mm-hmm. And then versus when you're in there, it's different energy. That's why it's hard. Mm-hmm. Still, it's without it's so obvious. Some of these fourth quarter decisions we've seen, it is still obvious. But when you're in it, and I imagine on the sideline, you kind of get why it's people in theory start to break down in practice, like in terms of like the game, like they don't know
when to go and to go to the Saints, like to transition to that.
Yeah,
the crowd for this game is going to be irritable. They're going to be on edge right from the start. If there is a bad play call, if they go for it on fourth and they don't get it, this crowd's going to flip.
I don't know, honestly, because I don't know what to expect from the crowd because they already got rid of the coach. They got rid of Lattimore. They got rid of the coach. So, like, are they going to be pissed after one or two plays? I don't know. Because they already have a new interim head coach. Like, what are they going to get mad at him?
I mean, they've screwed up so much this season. They don't have time for any more baloney.
Yeah.
Well, the thing is, the season's over. Like, you're not going to come back.
But they still have Kamara. They still I think what's frustrating, maybe I don't know what point this is making, but they have a team that on paper could be much more competitive. Mm-hmm. And they're giving away. It's like they're in the rebuilding stage, but yet you have Kamara as one of the top backs in the league. And Derek Carr, if he shows up, can be great. But
when you think about like how they scored all their points in the first 2 weeks of the season when they were the number one offense, it was like Shaheed down the field, spreading the field, and then Olave underneath, and then Kamara. Now Kamara still last week, even without those two, had a great game, but that's because the volume he got, and he's such a good player.
Yes,
but.
Now, it's a rival game, too, for the Saints.
It is a
Saints
divisional.
Falcons.
It's a divisional game.
This is like their rivalry, same way Cowboys, Eagles.
And walking around New Orleans,
from what I understand,
you could tell, like, we went into one gift shop, and there was, like, stickers and, like, shirts and stuff that said, like, Falcons suck.
Yeah.
Like, it is actually a rivalry.
Yes.
So, like, this isn't going to be a game that the fans walk into, and they're just like, yeah, like, we lost. Like, no. These fans, I know that we're going to be a part of a group that wants to beat the Falcons.
And very loyal from what I've spoken, just spending some time in the city. It was cool asking about, like, we're here for the game, talking. Mm-hmm. And some of them were very acknowledgeable, like, it's, they're rebuilding. It's you don't really know. but strong sense of loyalty to the team.
Yes.
You know, which I respect
Yeah.
as a Philly fan. You know, like not every sports city has that level of allegiance, even when things are going down.
And the logo is everywhere.
So they might even if they know your team is bad, if it's a rival to that level, they might want to bring you down with them. You know, like
Yeah.
Falcons are supposed to win.
Even we walked into like a gift shop area or a knickknack shop, and there was a gold Drew Brees jersey.
Oh, nice.
And it was like, oh, that looks really cool. And John was like, that looks sick. And then sure enough, someone bought it. And it's like still
Yeah.
people are buying Saints stuff. Like the guy that you're talking about and the shop that said Falcons suck. He was like, oh, you know, these Saints things aren't going fast. Like no one's buying them anymore. But then we go down the street and this guy's buying a Drew Brees jersey.
Wow.
So like there's still that love. But it's the love of like we need to get back to our old ways. Like
Yeah.
we need to get back to our standard.
Yeah.
But that's why they're so. It's like Alabama, where it's just like we have a standard, and the standard's been set for years and years and years, and the Saints are not up to their standards, so we're gonna get pissed. It's not like they're like ungrateful. It's just that's the reality of when you're in a town that is so passionate about the Saints.
It sounds like the Phillies. You see the Phillies fans when they were in the playoffs, they were booing, I think, Castellanos or what was the guy?
Oh, Nick Castellanos.
I think they were booing one of Philly. They were in Philly, and he wasn't doing well, and they started booing him.
in the playoffs.
Yeah, and he was like these
Philly Eagles were booing last week.
but all the discourse
Bad
because
fans, honestly. They're
I
terrible.
don't know if it was Castellanos. I think it was Castellanos. I could be wrong. I'm not. I root for the Phillies, but I'm not great with the baseball details. But the tweets were like basically he won the game for us later, and it's like the Eagles fans are like we have Phillies fans are like we have a standard, and we're okay with bullying our players till they get better, and it's like
That's terrible.
That's
They're the worst fans.
That's toxic.
The
You don't
Eagles-
want to be a part of
The
that.
Eagles are the worst fans in the NFL. Really.
all right. We're talking
They're
about
the
Phillies.
most toxic, I will say. For
they were
sure.
talking about the Phillies, not the
still all
Eagles.
the-
I was
I
gonna
don't care.
strays.
Philly fans.
Yeah.
I'm not agreeing with it, but the point being, like, you have a passionate people and have standards, and there's right and wrong ways to do it. Don't get me wrong.
I will say, when I was at the counter,
But
I was kinda
indifference is
right
worse.
I was right next to the counter when the guy brought up the Breeze jersey to buy it. He puts it on the counter, and the woman behind the counter goes, "Oh, you're a loyal fan, huh?" And he's like, "Yeah." He's like, "I really miss Breeze, though." And so I was like, and then she was like, what do you think about the rest of the season? He's like, I think we're just going to have fun and maybe get a good draft pick. I'm like, oh, maybe you'll get a good quarterback, Shador or something. And he's like, yeah, maybe. But I wish Breeze was back. So he
holding on.
definitely missed Breeze.
Aw.
I mean, Breeze was so good for this team.
He's so good. Great leader.
But yeah, it does show the loyalty about this team. So I'm excited for just the atmosphere to see what it's like, the tailgate, and the Superdome. I mean, the Superdome is an iconic.
Yeah, we
like,
drove
stadium.
by it, and it is like
It's
unbelievable.
pretty cool. I want to see the inside of it.
Yeah. And I have a good way to get us all attention tomorrow. I'm wear my Patrick Mahomes jersey and walk around the stadium. Show them what a real runner looks like.
When do I tell you that you're sitting across the way from us?
I'll wear my dorm debate cap and say, I'm on dorm debate.
Oh,
Do you remember that stat that Caleb put out? And he's like, "Oh, Saints are 2-0, and there's been no murders. If they're 0-7, if they're about to go 0-6 or 0-8, so
Our Uber might not want to pick
they
us
might,
up.
yeah, they might be a little angry, and they're gonna see red. You know what Bulls do when they see red?
The tailgate
It's
might
not
be.
gonna be
I'm
good.
going to be the one guy in the crowd saying, let's go Chiefs.
Oh my god! Oh my god! We're all gonna die. You're not with us tomorrow or Sunday. You're
Also,
not.
big fantasy players. I mean, I have Bijan. We'll talk about our picks for the game, but like, it's kind of cool. Bijan's one of my big scorers. You know, so it's like seeing the. It's different when you're on TV. Like, oh, he's not doing well. But if I'm in person,
Are you gonna heckle him? Are you gonna boo him? Let's get it going, Bijan.
you can do better.
I'll buy your mustard if you get a touchdown right now.
I do actually. We got to try that at some point.
Bijan mustard.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I think one of you have Kamara too. I think you have Kamara, right, John?
I don't know.
Jersey?
No, in fantasy.
No, I don't.
You,
That's me.
yeah. So
You should start him this week. Unlike the other weeks.
Unlike every other time you bench.
every time you bench him, not only does he go off, but then the comments like roast you. You know.
Yeah,
It's-
like,
it's-
why didn't you do
Same
it?
for me. We all get it. That's except for John. Everyone. Still 8-1, right?
Yeah, 8-1.
Why don't you start with picks?
Yeah.
We'll go back around this way.
Okay.
As far as Saints Falcons.
I'm gonna pick. I picked. Geez, I'm gonna go with the Falcons. 12. We'll go 24-14.
Okay.
I'm also going to go with the Falcons. Probably, I think Younghoe Koo is going to have a big night.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
That's
Big
gonna
night.
be cool.
Yeah, it's in a dome. Should be easy for him to kick. He's used to kicking in a dome. So let's see.
Yeah.
6, 9, 12, 38.
Okay. Okay. what is this?
38
To
burger.
17.
And 17.
38-17.
38-17 Falcons.
You were going up with the number. How many scores? How many points is Younghoe getting?
Well, he's going to get a lot of kicks, then a missed field goal. Or missed extra point. Missed extra
one
point.
missed extra point.
Oh, okay.
So, all field
Add that up
goals.
together, he's get 18 fantasy points.
Somehow he's getting 18.
He recovers a fumble.
Dude,
And runs
he was
to the
my
end zone.
my fantasy team. He was my first fantasy name.
Yeah.
Back when I thought
That's
his
what
name
it-
was Young Ho, I put Young Ho Heroes. That was my first fantasy team ever. So it's big for me that I get to see him in person.
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying. Fantasy is fun because it just, normally it gives you not only a way to connect with friends and then your leagues and stuff, but then it's like you kind of follow players that aren't players
Like
you randomly
Yeah,
follow.
random
we
guys.
wouldn't care about Coop.
Like they're great, but then you kind of just see them and they're great. But then you're like watching their games, like, yeah, you did great this week. It's,
Yeah. So for my prediction,
Oh, he's got a cheat code. He's
Oh.
using the last game.
Oh,
no, this is the game that we're going to.
he's got the light.
You time traveled with
I
your
time
phone?
traveled. It's done. So I know how this game is going to end up. Look, guys, Olave's not going to play. He's got a concussion. Drake London, guys, has been limited in practice. It's too early to tell if he's going to play based on when we're filming this. If he does play, I think he's going to be limited. Maybe he doesn't play. I'm going to honestly pick the Saints because when you change the coach, you get a rejuvenation. People think like, oh, we lost Marshawn Lattimore, like now secondary's even worse. Honestly, these young players, Jonathan, you know how it is.
Yeah.
The young players, they want their chance.
Yeah.
They're not like, our
does he
secondary
know?
sucks.
They're trying to prove themselves.
Jonathan says that all the time. He's like, next guy up.
Yeah,
Like,
exactly.
These guys are ready. They're ready to go.
Yeah.
I'm saying Saints 23, Falcons 20.
Interesting.
I like
like
that.
your points. Very good points. But I do think a change in coach sort of discombobulates the team, and I think that's the case right now. There's no leadership. There's no direction. I think they're not going to have an identity on offense. I think they're going to be. It's basically a test game to see who can play, who cannot play. But I don't think they're going to win the game. I think Falcons are going to win the game. Kirk Cousins has been on a roll. Bijan Robinson's playing well. Falcons are going to win 27-10.
Oh, okay.
All right, so you heard our predictions for the LSU Alabama game, and you heard our predictions for the Falcons and Saints. Let's see if we're right. We're going to check back in on Sunday after the game's over. We'll probably have another podcast posted maybe Monday or Tuesday to get our reactions on the game, how the stadium was, how the fans reacted. It's going to be great. Hopefully our predictions are right with LSU. We get a high-scoring game. Hopefully it's exciting. And if you're going to that game, please let us know in the comments down below. But other than that, we will see you guys very, very soon.